What is going on, all of you mortgage maniacs out there? I'm Thomas Meister, the loan officer's agent, and in this video, super excited for some new names to show up on the weekly Gainers and Losers Mortgage Company edition. If this is your first time watching this series, what we're going to do is we're going to use a program called Redder. There's a link in the description if you want to check it out. If you're in mortgages, it's probably one of the best, in my opinion, best platforms for production lookup, whether that's on the mortgage or real estate side. We're going to specifically be using it to measure the changes in the last week within the mortgage industry, who's gaining loan officers, who's losing loan officers. However, you would probably know this if you've watched the other episodes. It doesn't always mean just because you gain loan officers that you are growing in terms of annualized production. So let's get started with this week's report. So as usual, what we're doing is fine-tuning the data slowly. Not going to let data issues within the data stop us from just going, right? So what you're looking at here is a comparison, right, of the changes within IMB and broker over the last 7 days, right, the last week. And what you can see is some of these companies we're not going to count because they are not IMB or broker, right? Like Mortgage Research Center, they are Veterans United. They're an online lender, right? So we're not, they gained 30 loan officers this week. That doesn't count. That's an online lender. They're just, doing leads, right? And some of these companies that show zeros, right? This means that they didn't show up in the previous week's data. They're also very small companies. So we're not going to be counting or looking at any of those companies, right? And that's going to be true on the broker and on the IMB side. So our first winner for this week is Cornerstone First Mortgage. So Cornerstone First netting 20 loan originators. So gaining 20, losing 2 for a net gain of 20 and an increase of about 130 million of annualized production. So who's coming in? One of the things that we use to kind of measure as a barometer who's going where and if they're doing a good job is how many $10 million originators are going to these companies. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 $10 million plus producers, 2 of them going to Fairway. And these other ones, so new and previously inactive, just means that they haven't landed yet. Their license isn't active, right? So we could stock them in the coming weeks. It looks like some of these other people went to Fairway too. If I had to guess, I'd say that it's probably, sorry, by the way, this is gained, my bad, gained. So a bunch of these people coming from Fairway, right? And new or previously inactive in that instance means that their license previously, there was a gap between where they were. So if you want to see where all these people were, then you got to get your own access to Redder, okay? And so they lost 2 people. They didn't lose any $10 million plus producers. So a good week for Cornerstone First Mortgage in terms of netting the most loan originators. Let's see if that holds true as we get through the rest of the IMBs here. The second one is for the week, Cross Country Mortgage, netting 19 loan originators. And yes, that translating to some positive production. So they're actually beating out Cornerstone. So net 19 plus for 140 million of annualized production. So who's coming in? 1, 2, 3, 4 $10 million plus producers, 2 of them from the same bank. And then Radar Home Loans. So Radar Home Loans, I don't know who that is. And so I'm going to use this as a brief opportunity to dissect into the data. Is this production likely to come with people that are coming from banks, coming from like call centers, right? So Kenneth Locke, where was he before again? So if we scroll down here, we look at his, so he came from JBG Mortgage. I don't know who that is. So we're going to just keep that in consideration. But yeah, I mean, he has a great realtor base, one really big realtor, right? So yes, he does do a good amount of refinance business, but that's okay because that's, in my opinion, likely to repeat. So, and where did they go? They lost 19. So only one $10 million plus producer going to New American Funding. So good week for Cross Country Mortgage and technically the new number 1 right now. So our number 3 is Atlantic Coast Mortgage. But what we saw from last week was that there was a huge group of people that left lower.com. And so lower is again on this week going to show up as one of the biggest losers because there's still licenses in transition from this very, very large move to Atlantic Coast by some people from lower. So 18 loan originators this week, 210 million. So gosh, man, this is going to end up being $1 billion of production. I think last week we saw, let's just switch it to 2 weeks. Yeah. So now it's totaling $722 million of annualized production. But that's over the last 2 weeks, right? So this past week, only 18 for 210. who is coming in? All, bunch from lower, everyone from lower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess we kind of count 9, 10. There's sometimes production that doesn't show up, right, here in Redder, so we'll give it to them. A pretty big week for Atlantic Coast again, and nobody really leaving. So that's our top 3. Let's see who else is making some splashes. We've got Gold Star. So Gold Star coming in here at number 4 in terms of most gained for loan originators at 15. Let's go to Gold Star. And over the last week, 15 loan officers coming in for 40 million increase of annualized production. That's pretty good. So that's a good week. Only one $10 million plus producer, but okay, we can see that a very large group, and maybe all of them actually. By the end of this, it might be all of them, coming from City First Mortgage Services. So they're probably going to end up on the losers for this week, because that's a fairly, well, it's not like a bunch of production, but this is a group making a move, right? And then losing 2, but no $10 million plus producers leaving. Okay. So a good week, an okay week for Gold Star. Next, we have New American Funding coming in at number 5 in terms of loan officers gained. Let's have a quick peek at New American Funding. And in the last week, 11 net gain for $71 million of annualized production. That's pretty good. Who's coming in? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, $10 million, $10 million ish plus producers coming in. A pretty big producer. 2 producers coming from, I wonder if they came from the same company. Let's dissect it. I'm curious now if some of these bigger people are all coming from that RTP company. So if we scroll down here, we can see that, no, this one came from CMG. And this one, they have names. I should use their names. So Sarah came from Benchmark. So Arclatech, pro tip, Arclatech is just the DBA, or the legal name for Benchmark Mortgage. Okay. So good week for New American Funding, and then losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, losing some good producers, but net on top in terms of production gained, and no consistent real theme there, but losing a good amount of producers this past week for New American Funding. So, okay. So that was our top 5 for, and then I had like some, I don't know if I think we've had Loan Depot on this list before, Independence Home Loans. Let's do Independence Home Loans. They're much smaller. They're almost a $2 billion company. They gained 10 loan officers, so that's an increase of 4.65%. That's a pretty big swing for a smaller company. So let's check them out. Oh, well, the only problem is that they do only refinance business. So I guess they're a call center or something based out of Scottsdale. So not gonna, it's fine to do refinance business, right? But when that's your entire company, I mean, you're not like a traditional retail or like, purchase centric focused consumer based lender. So, okay. Good example of they gained 8 loan officers, but they actually had 11 million is not like a huge swing, especially for a big company like Loan Depot, who's a $20 billion company, but losing $11 million of annualized production, even though they gained 8 net loan officers. So bringing in 1, 2, 3, $10 million plus producers, and who's leaving? 1, 2, 3, and 3 bigger ones leaving. This guy, looks like Tyler, went to West Capital Lending. They're actually one of the winners for this week on the broker side, West Capital Lending being one of the largest brokers in the country. So, okay. Interesting week there on the IMB side. So let's head over to brokers. So we just brought them up. So I guess timing is everything. West Capital Lending in the last week gaining 19 loan originators for a net gain of $80 million of annualized production. So who's coming in? We've got, and that's interesting. Some of their bigger producers, Secure Choice Lending. Byron. I know Byron. Shout out Byron. These are brokers, right? So broker switching to broker, broker switching to broker. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 $10 million plus producers switching to West Capital Lending this past week. And who is leaving? 1, 2 $10 million plus producers leaving West Capital Lending. Okay, interesting. Next up, Nexa, also one of the largest brokers in the country. So Nexa has a lot of loan officers, and it's an okay week, right? But it's not like they're blowing it out in terms of production. So net gaining 16 loan originators, 7.2 million, bringing in $1, $2, $10 million plus producers, and losing $1, $2, $10 million plus producers. And some of these people going to another broker, Barrett, and then coast to coast. I think that's another broker. So interesting week, kind of flat, but I mean, they're picking up loan officers, right? So this is smaller, but I thought it's worth keeping on here because to me, this is, we don't want to always look at the big companies. We want to see who are the little guys that are doing things and making moves. I wonder why. So Primerica is kind of, they've been on this list for a while, or come into, like, we've seen them on a couple different weeks. They are much smaller compared to some of the other companies, but net gaining 13 loan originators. So over the last week, well, this says 12, but actually flat. I mean, $140,000 is nothing. So gaining no $10 million plus producers, losing no $10 million plus producers. Okay, so really, that's a flat week. Loan Factory, I mean, they gained some loan officers, and they usually are on this list as well. But however, they do, like a lot of the other lenders, actually. They're not a call center, I don't think, right? But somebody leave a note in the chat because I don't know anyone at Loan Factory, so I should get acquainted with them more. But actually, not a good week. So they gained 11 loan originators, but they lost over $16 million of annualized production, losing 3 $10 million plus producers. And let's see. Sorry, that was gaining, but also losing 3. So gaining 3, losing 3, right? That is obviously going to contribute to your more than flat. It's not a good week for Loan Depot. Sorry, Loan Factory. I think Loan Depot also didn't have a good week. Both of the loan companies not having a fantastic week. So the next winner is Smart Equity Home Loans, another company. I don't know anybody there. So, hey, if you're at Smart Equity Smart Home Loans, reach out. Would love to connect and see why are people coming to the company. Net +7 loan originators, $60 million annualized production, picking up 2 $10 million plus producers, and losing none. So good week for Equity Smart Home Loans. And then let's see. I feel like we might want to count both of these just because some of these were losers technically, right? So it's, it's the easy metric to track is how many loan originators are coming in. Haven't tweaked the data to exactly be able to show how many, what that gain is in annualized production. So flat week for Edge Home Finance, one of the other largest brokers in the country, net gain of 5 loan originators, 7.5 million. 1 $10 million plus producer coming in and 1 leaving. Well, that will do it. That will contribute to your flat week. And so we'll throw in here much smaller of a company, but a pretty substantial gain for them, right, is Federal First Lending. So I do not know Federal First Lending at all. So we're going to, every single week, get an opportunity to learn a little bit more. So that's a lot of equity business. That's the first thing I noticed is they're not really focused on purchase business at all. So this is probably a call center, right? They gained 5 loan originators, but those people probably came from, they came from a broker shop. And West Capital Lending doing a lot of leads, right? So buying a lot of leads. So it looks like this place is also growing, but bringing in people who are lead focused. So, all right, that's it for the winners for this week. We're going to slide on down here to our losers. And we're going to start with the brokers, and no surprise. So City First Mortgage Services, they don't really count. Actually, no, they do. That's right. They were the company that brought on a lot of those those people who left, right? So City First, and yeah, they lost 22. So I'm curious if some of those people went someplace else, right? Because when you look at those companies, it only shows where. So Gold Star was the biggest beneficiary. Okay, but one of these people's license is inactive. But yeah, none of the people who leaving this company went anywhere else. They only went to Gold Star. So net loss of $64 million annualized production, 22 loan originators. Not good for City First. And so lower. Also, because the trend continuing from that large group leaving to Atlantic. So we got, so basically they gained actually. So lower gains, 6 people, 1 $10 million plus producer. And a net loss of 18, but losing, right? We kind of already covered this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11, 1 technically inactive, So that person could be going someplace else. But other than that, yeah, every single person here almost leaving is likely headed to Atlantic Coast. So not a good week for lower, and probably one of our biggest losers for this week, if not the biggest. So losing $216 million of annualized production. Whoopsie, adding something in there. Okay, so here we've got, wait, that's not right. Yeah, see, oh, it's picking up the license numbers. We got to go here to company, CMG. Okay, so in the last week, CMG Mortgage losing 11 loan originators and a net loss of $106 million of annualized production. Okay, so that'll put them in the top losers for this week. Wait a second. Oh, so they gained, right, one $10 million plus producer and from North Point Bank, and they lost one, two, oh, okay. So no, not a loser actually this week. So this is a good point, right? So CMG bought a bank CMG. So there are originators slowly going to be transitioning into this new entity that they actually have. So no, this data being a little skewed, I'm going to guess it's a flat week because we have one $10 million plus producer going to NFM lending, but other than and another smaller person going someplace else. But no, actually flat week for CMG, though those are just license changes within the organization, right? Within the company that they already own. So next up is PRMG, Paramount. They lost 6 originators, but hey, maybe they'll break the trend where it's just because you lose people, well, they lost some production, right? So they only gained one person who's a $5 million plus producer, and they lost one $10 million plus producer to Alameda. And so not a good week for Paramount. And up next, we're going to have American Neighborhood Mortgage, right? So this is Annie Mac, actually. So another pro tip, Annie Mac, their legal name is American Neighborhood Mortgage. So not a good week for Annie Mac, losing net loss of 5 producers for $56 million of annualized production, gaining nobody, or well, they didn't even do production, and losing, well, they lost one big producer. So that'll do it. It's a big producer leaving, licensed and active, so we don't know where Mary is going. So we could always check in on Mary next week. I need to one day actually make a running list of people that we're tracking. But Mortgage Solutions of Colorado losing 4 originators. And there's some other people who lost 4, but technically out of the biggest companies, right? Because we can easily see on here, I mean, technically it's probably a bigger loss for Mutual of Omaha, but they also do a lot of like lead stuff, equity stuff. Like they're not really all that focused on well, let's look at it in a second. Let's, show, don't tell, right? So net loss of 4 originators for $30 million annualized production. One $10 million plus producer leaving. Okay. So yeah, let's quickly hop on to Mutual of Omaha as like a bonus, just because I want to see, and I want to know. We're all learning together. Okay. So losing 4 originators, $110 million annualized production. As you can see here, they do a lot of refinances and equity. And they are a big company. They're a $10 billion company. But let's see who's coming in. One person coming in and their license was previously inactive. Let's go see where this person came from. And yeah, this is purchase-based business. That's realtor focused. A lot of Keller Williams people. And Unity Home Loans. Don't know anyone there, but okay, that's actually a legit good pickup for them. So let's look at losses. So these people who lost, let's see. Let's look at the 2 big ones. Well, there's only 2 $10 million plus producers. So Samir doing only new builds. So this person works a builder account. So is that their builder account? And it's also a lot of refinance business. So I don't think that this business is coming with them wherever they're going. And maybe Lennar. So have they worked at a couple companies recently? Oh, they came from Lennar. Got it. So that's why it's builder business coming into Mutual of Omaha, right? So they lost this person. Or their license went inactive? Huh? Oh, they brought them over. Oh, this person was there for only 3 months. This person didn't pan out. Probably because they didn't do business, right? They came from Lennar. So that's interesting. This person came from Lennar Mortgage to Mutual of Omaha, and 3 weeks later they let them go. Okay, so we're in the weeds right now, looking at some of these people. So let's back up here a second and get back to the point of this video and the data. So biggest loser this week in terms of loan officers lost is Barrett Financial, and Barrett is actually usually one of the biggest at the top of the list. So, because they're one of the biggest brokers in the country, but not, okay, good. This is a great thing to showcase because you don't always want to gain a bunch of loan officers. It's all about production. So net loss of 14 loan originators, but gain of $135 million annualized production. Looks like they're bringing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, $10 million plus producers. This is a builder, actually. So business maybe not likely to repeat. Going to avoid diving into the rabbit hole this time. Okay. So interesting. Now, a number of other people coming from Nexa, Edge. Interesting people making moves within the broker channel to each other, right? Normally we see a lot more people from the IMB side going to brokers. I feel like that was 2025. A lot more people went from being IMB to broker, but I'm seeing a bigger trend of people going from broker to broker now. So one $10 million plus producer leaving Barrett. Okay. So next biggest loser is another one of the large brokers, U Mortgage. And I could have looked at some of these smaller companies, but I'm just looking at like the kind of the $1 billion ones. So like the bigger ones this week, because I'm curious. I'm curious where they are going. We want to know where they're going. We want to know why they're going. A flat week for U Mortgage, losing 4 originators, $10 million, not losing or gaining any production, and then losing a couple smaller producers. Okay. So not actually a loss this week for U Mortgage. So E Mortgage Capital losing 4 producers and $50 million of annualized production. So not gaining anybody, and well, they gained some people, but losing 2 bigger producers, right? 1, 2 big producers, and wow, another person going to West Capital Lending. So there you go. West Capital Lending is definitely the biggest winner for this week, more than likely. Okay, next we're going to hop over to Secure Choice. So we did see my buddy Byron. I used to work with Byron. Byron's cool. -3 loan originators for $32 million of annualized production. Where'd they go? So 2 others left, but Byron being the only $10 million plus producer who left. So 2 others going to, is that a credit union? That might be a credit union. And then I don't know what that is. Maybe that's a property management company. I don't know. And then Insure, our last company for the week, and only losing 2 people. But hey, I'm always curious to compare the data, because what if they brought in a big producer? I don't know. They didn't bring in anybody. So losing 2 loan originators, net loss of 2, and $35 million of annualized production. So those 2 loan originators, one of them being the big producer that obviously caused that loss for this week. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. Please like the video, subscribe so that way you get notified whenever I drop one of the new weekly gainers and losers for the week. And leave a note in the comment, because that would help the algorithm, obviously, to find, show that this is attractive for people like yourself, and give it to other people, suggest it to them, so that way they can watch it as well. As always, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.